Waiting for this to go live. And there we go. Right, hello, this is Zizarin, and I'm going to be doing an AMA with Nugian. He feels under his camera. And
Hello.
Everyone, feel free to list any questions you have for Nugian in stream. And while we're waiting for that to open up, let's ask Nugian, what have you been doing in Talisman? And what was your favorite build to play? And what was your what overall did you feel about Talisman?
Oh, so what I've been doing in Talisman? I think first off, I tried out getting a character that was strong enough to actually go for 100. That's always the first goal. I think anyone who plays a lot, kind of like if your first character makes it, you try to go for 100, right? Because like then you're like in the hype of the race and all that. So I had I died like 3-4 times on my Bladefall character, but I felt pretty confident about it. Like that was on day 1, and I then got to 96, I believe. Then we all had the infamous Havoc Fist Reflect call out where I died.
I linked it,
That
dude.
was-
I linked it in chat. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was quite unfortunate. After that, I think I was enjoying myself a lot, so I just started making like tons of builds with poison. Even the Bladefall character was also meant to do poison, so it was like I kind of expected poison to be really, really, really strong. So yeah, it was just a poison league for me.
It's just a
At least
poison
in the
league.
beginning. Yeah, in the beginning at least, just trying out all the mechanics. I think for my favorite builds I did this league, it must. I don't know. It's a hard toss up between either the Tech 6 Sparker with the Poison Chaos or the Void Battery character, but that character died to disconnect, so I didn't really get to experiment too much with it. But that was a really fun character as well. The Bleed Vortex. Yeah.
Oh, so you got to try out a lot of things this league. And what would you,
Yeah.
from 1 to 10, how would you rate Talisman in comparison to other leagues? And also on that, how do you feel about them not having different leagues now? Like Tempest and Warband, different. Obviously, Talisman wasn't. How do you feel about that as well?
Oh, say that again.
Like Tempest and Warband were two completely different leagues. So if you played on
Okay.
one, you couldn't
So
play the other.
yeah. I think this is something I've been talking a lot with Morris and other people about it. Just the whole like splitting up efforts of making 2 leagues. I feel we both felt it was a mistake. It's better just focusing on one and actually just having, because it feels really bad when there's one good league, right? And you can't be a part of it because you're kind of excluded from being a hardcore player. Because apart from the Tempest League, I think every other standard league almost have been where the most fun have been, as I remember. So I think it's a good thing that they're consolidating, like, or they're making it the same, so we can just just focus on making one good league, and you can then decide where you want to go, and you're not forced into either for some of the experience. So I think that's a good idea. I think the league itself was a little bit bland. I think they could have done a lot better in terms of. They could have done a lot better in terms of just making the grind or the how you farm the different talisman better.
Yeah.
I think that was way too tedious. So that kind of that wasn't too fun.
And
So on a scale from 1 to 10, I don't know. I don't think I can give any other leagues a 10 or even a 9. I think I would give this like a 6 or a 7, maybe like a 7. Like the base game is really good. I think I would give their base game like an 8.5 at this point. So yeah, their base game has gotten
pretty high rating.
Oh yeah, I think their base game is really, really good. But the leagues have been either their start have been not very good, and yeah, I don't know. Like I still want more from the leagues. I think they can do better with those.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting with the expansion coming out and everything. It's pretty soon as well, and the launch date has been confirmed as well. Yeah, 4th, I believe. So that's closing in pretty soon. Are you still playing the league actively, or?
Oh, this league? I don't play the league actively. I play the races.
Yeah.
Right now. They're very enjoyable. They've improved the races, I think, quite a lot. I think they're adding a lot of fun races now. It's not like just a lot of clusterfuck, right? It's not like just blamped or
Yeah.
some other stuff that's just insane. No, it's like the Headhunter race takes something that, like one of the most fun mechanics that you can get on an item and just puts it on everyone, which is really cool. It also gives people like the experience of the Headhunter, which makes them maybe want to get the Headhunter item later on, which is a very high tier item, meaning that you actually get people wanting to try the really high tier endgame, which I think is really cool. So I think if like you want to do more of that kind of stuff, right? So that's really cool. Then we have all the descent gems and all that. So they have a high variety of races now, which I find really enjoyable.
That's good. Right, so we're gonna start taking some of the questions from chat here. We've got a nice build up. And the first question is from Benda. A lot of people have been asking for this actually. Are you ever gonna regrow your mustache?
Don't expect it.
Don't expect it. Wow, okay. Well,
No.
apparently that was a very popular question.
The thing is, it's just really annoying to keep to groom it and all that, and I don't know, I'm a little bit too lazy for it, and everyone around me says it doesn't look that great.
Fair enough, fair enough. That's a good reason. Second question is also a personal question. Do you currently have a girlfriend?
No, I do not.
Right, let's see. We're gonna... Okay. Okay, here's another one by Burnin Effigy. If you add one thing to the game, what would it be?
If I could add
Anything to the game, what would you add to the game?
anything to the game, a better engine.
Better engine.
Yes, where we had perfect, just I don't know, just the perfect engine where everything was smooth. Yeah, I would love that. Where everyone had max FPS all the time, no lags. You could play in groups. You could do whatever you want, and they didn't have the limitations they have right now with with the engine. So yeah, that would be definitely the one thing I would add.
No freezing ground lag. I see, I see.
Yeah.
What would you say what are the strongest builds right now for in beta?
Well, that's a tough one because okay, if we're purely going for end game potential of strongest builds, which would be like, this is the strongest build, I would say Ballspark for clear speed in terms of XP per hour. I think block in general with stuff like I think flash builds with Taste of Hate and the block and roomies and stuff like that is potentially some of the highest you can get in terms of just end game survivability for the lowest cost, and then you just want to combine that with the best setup in terms of damage for a skill, which is there's like a few skills that have really insane scaling. Anything that scales with duration and high crit scales really insane, which is why Firestorm right now in conjunction with Poison and Blade Vortex both scale insanely high. So those are definitely some of the easiest to scale to an absurd amount of damage. Traps as well, because just of the how you like path, you can get there are so many trap nodes alongside with the chaos nodes and other good nodes that have the double different scaling as well with poison, right? So you get the physical and the poison, so you get the blade war or the blade fall trappers, which is why they're so insane, because it's just all this double tipping on the poison. So yeah, I think those three, like the trappers, the blade vortex, and the firestorm, are just per like when you just look at raw DPS, they're probably the highest, I would assume. I'm not entirely sure. Like, maybe some standard builds. Like I'm not a standard guy, so I don't really know what kind of things they're rolling at out there. Like maybe some cast and crit maybe still have the same scaling, like because you have these mechanics that can like bypass attack speed, which is cast and crit, and all these other mechanics where you get Headhunter, or you get what's that other, the Helmet Skull's Bridle, where you have these like very, very, very end game, incredibly hard to achieve characters that could potentially get up there as well. But as standard characters, I would say Blade Vortex, Trappers, and Firestorm.
And do you feel like anything is completely out of bounds right now? Like, is there anything you would nerf, or do you feel like they're okay?
I think the double dipping. I think poison is just out of whack right now because it benefits from too many things, right? It benefits from duration, from all the trap nodes and all that. Like it double dips too easily. Basically, when you look at poison, okay, they introduced poison as another like way of scaling damage, but it's so ridiculous. It's like a if you look at spell echo, which is a multiplier, right, for all your damage, and then you look at poison next to it, like poison is probably like twice as good in terms of raw damage output from a mechanic, and they just added that to the game pretty much. You just slapped on top, and
Yeah.
and that's too much.
Okay. See. There's another question from Jursek. Did you finish any college, like university, stuff like that?
No,
No?
I actually didn't. It's been I've when I was younger, I planned to finish university, and I always aspired to get like a PhD in like physics or something like that. It was always one of my dreams, and I was always told that as long as I worked hard and I kept being in school, like all my teachers said that as long as I kept doing well in school as I did at the time, then I could do anything. But I don't know. That whole question is like kind of like goes into like just a past that's been kind of troubling for me. So
Fair enough. We'll move on. So, Sai TV is asking, what character did you put the most time in overall and over, like, this is every league, not just Talisman. Like, what character have you put the most time in?
the most time in of any character, I think the first ranger I ever made. Like in the open beta, I think that character probably has the most time. It got to like a little over 90, I think almost 91.
Huh?
And back then that was a very high
Yeah,
level.
yeah, very high.
Like I think that is probably the one I put the most time in, and ever since then I've just not. Mapping kind of like end game mapping kind of died for me there, just because I don't know. It just took so much currency, and it's always taking so much currency, and just such a grind, and it wasn't really in my taste.
Okay. Next up is Tigris with what's your internet white whale? Something you've been searching for years to find with no luck. So like a game that is like particularly designed away or something like that.
World of Warcraft, but with a system that's like, but with a complex system as the one, like an MMO, but with a complex system as the one you have in PoE would probably be the one.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Something I would definitely
Yeah.
like as well.
But I could settle with the less complexity. Just I'm big on community. Like I want to see a lot of people playing. It's for me when I play games, I like being part of a community, and I like being part of, or I like being able to stand out from the masses in the sense that I want competition, and I want to beat the competition.
Yeah.
And so that requires that there's a lot of people playing, because if there's not, it feels trivial when you're number one. But if you're only competing against 50, it's not as fun.
Yep. No, for sure. You'd rather have a slightly less perfect game, but millions of people playing it than
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Hey, Sai TV asking, who is your favorite moderator? Ooh.
Oh, that's an easy one. No, I think the moderator, because I appreciate all my mods. I really do, every single one of them. But there's one mod I miss because he's not around that much anymore. So that's Caucasian. He's not that much around anymore, but he's so much fun. Every time he's in there, like there's just so much fun in the chat.
Well, hopefully he sees this and maybe he'll come back more. Good to know you're appreciated, right? Next up question is by Flame Resistant. What is the first build you plan on playing in Ascendancy? You plan on anything for that?
We'll see. I really enjoy the mechanics of Blade Vortex. But there's just we need to get a little bit closer before I can really say what I want to play. But Blade Vortex really has some of the it has interesting mechanics to play with, like a lot of different ways of scaling it. It's a very it has a very high cap in terms of damage. yeah, so Blade Vortex is the one thing I enjoy playing right now. So it is the one build I am considering right now. Something with Blade Vortex.
Cool.
That's kind of all I know so far.
And is there anything like in the notes so far that you're like that's gonna get changed before it comes out? Something that you just think is a little too much power creep?
Bone offering.
Fun offering, yeah. I think that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Right, okay, let's see. So the next one is by Dwarbor. I don't know, have you seen Carve's facepalm moment where he vendors his
Yes, I
plus
have
one
seen
scepter and then slaps himself in the face? Well, okay, good. The question is, Mr. Noogie, how often do you yourself make mistakes at Carve and his awesome facepalm moment? And how hard did you laugh when you saw it?
Oh, I found it really hilarious. I don't know if it was like a laughing moment. It was more like a chuckle. I had a really good chuckle. It's just why it's just something you just smile at, right? Because it's happened to everyone who's raced. I don't think it happens too much to me anymore. But more, I think I have just I do a lot of wrong decisions, but that's just because I'm not really in tune with like racing yet, like not completely yet. I don't make that many mistakes. I don't know. I think when I'm streaming, I do make a few more mistakes than I would otherwise do.
Yeah.
Like I forget spikes and stuff all the time. Like the quest items. Oh yeah, I forget those all the time.
All right.
So it happens.
So just for
Every,
those
like,
watching that
5
aren't
races.
familiar with you as a racer, what do you usually race at? And like how do you usually place? Like do you win demigods? Do you not win demigods? And what class do you race?
I race as Ranger. Yeah. I race as Ranger. I had a rough start this season. Every single season I've raced in, I've won demis. Every single season. And normally I win them like straight off the bat in the first few races. This season was a little bit different with all the changes to the layouts and tile sets. It really threw me off balance. So it took me like 10 races before I got into it, but then I won 4 in a row. So that was pretty nice. I felt really good after that. I was really worried that I was like just getting bad at racing in comparison to everyone else.
Yeah.
But it just took a little longer because of all the changes to the tile sets and everything.
Next up is a question by Highmine. So obviously build variety and viability will shift on ascendancy. Do you see 3 to 4 builds dominating popular builds, or do you think it's going to be a variety now? Like obviously currently
Ascendancy?
we have a like current meta with like 5 to 10 builds that are super popular. Do you think this is going to change with like a big variety of builds, or
No.
do you think it's going to be the same?
I think I can straight up say that the kind of variety people expect, and people want to have these like 30 50 different builds, right, equally powered and all that. That's like it's a fairy tale. In these kind of games, people like everyone goes like through the path of least resistance, and they all go where the power is. So by default, you will always have people seeking power, like the high, like the best builds out there. And so people kind of like they just flood towards the best builds, and that's just how it is. It's normal in any game. Just look at when you look at World of Warcraft. Like it's not like you had these. Like the skill tree could maybe have like a million different variations, but everyone was playing the same tree, and everything like let's say like the DK, right? And like you had the Unholy, the Frost, the Blood, and everyone would play like whatever variation was the best. And it's the same thing in PoE and in any other ARPG or MMO. Like people figure out the best setup you can have for a specific build or a specific purpose, and they go for it because it's the strongest, and that's just how it is.
So obviously, for those of you who don't know, in Ascendancy, there's coming a whole new like maze. There's lots of new content being added to the game, and it's going to reset daily. And the next question is by DJ1. Do you like the Ascendancy mechanic concept? Like, how do you feel about the maze?
The mace?
Yeah, like the maze, the daily maze that's going to be resetting every day.
Oh, the maze.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So how does it work again?
So it's gonna be they're adding like a type of dark shrines to it. There's gonna be the dark shrines in there, but you're gonna be clicking them. You're not putting anything into them.
Okay.
Probably limiting a lot of the effects. And then you have to like go through the thing, and
Yeah.
you'll get the extra ascendancy points when you complete the pyramid or maze. How do you feel about like the whole like with all the trap stuff like that? How do you feel about all that being added to?
Okay, so I think that's a good. I think that's a good addition to the game, to where it's not only like hold and click. Right now, you have to like dodge, and you have to, especially it's something that they can do now with the lockstep in place, so they can actually add a mechanic like that. A lot of people will say that, oh, that's just an arbitrary difficulty, right? But like, what is difficulty in any game really? It's such. I think that kind of like argument against it is really just not understanding what difficulty is in a game. Because what are we really doing? We're like we're moving our cursor with our mouse, and we're like firing numbers at other numbers and stuff like that with like. And we're like navigating through like blocks and stuff. Like that's really what's going on. But I don't know, like, and then you up the numbers here and there, and that's what it is. Like there's not much to do in terms of like adding difficulty in games. Like, okay, like, do we then want to have like combos? Like, do we want to have like lightning arrow frenzy to unlock like another combo? So you have to do these. No, we don't want to do that either. So I think it's pretty cool. I think they can do something good with it. Yeah.
Are you worried at all about like players that have too high ping and can't use lockstep? Do you think that's going to be detrimental?
I don't know. I think from a design point of view, it is wrong designing around those fringe cases. I'm sorry, but people who have bad internet will just get shafted, and this is how it's gonna be. It's too bad, but like, yeah, eventually everyone's gonna get better internet. Like, it's only gonna, like, people only get better and better internet. So in the end, like, they will get their internet, and they can be like, they can get what they want in the end. But yeah.
Okay, sounds. Next question is by Lacante. Do you have any 24-hour streams planned? When is your next 24-hour stream?
Oh, I don't have anything like that planned. Like 24-hour streams for me are, I don't know. There has to be a very specific reason, or it has to be because we did something great or something, and we're just gonna have fun for 24 hours. I don't have anything planned like that. I do less and less of that stuff just because I really dislike having a good sleep schedule. Every time I do a 24-hour stream, it messes up my entire week afterwards.
Yeah.
And I would much rather just get a much more consistent like streaming schedule, rather than just messing up my sleeping schedule and all that. So like, because when I do that, it just always goes in a negative direction afterwards. It's fun when I do it, but then it's like the days after, I don't feel motivated to do anything. I start waking up later. I start going to bed later. It's just not very good. So
definitely relate to that. The next question is by Dota Man MS. Do you like the fact that you can give one shot even with 8k HP? Like, how do you feel? Like,
yes.
Obviously, you do.
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Do you want to talk more about how you feel about this?
Sure. The thing about, like, a thing people don't understand about this game is how mitigation works and how you should mitigate damage. Like, if you couldn't take that amount of damage, you could make immortal characters. That is just no fun. Like, the game is completely trivial if you cannot take that amount of damage.
Yeah.
Some of my characters have Lightning Coil, Fortify, Taste of Hate, and Block, and like armor and all these kind of things. And you have Cast and Devastating and Feeble, to the point where I could probably take on some of my characters like a 15k hit and still survive, just because I have all the mitigation. Like, imagine if like, because some people just die straight out from an 8k hit, but that's because they have no mitigation, and all they're doing is they're skimping out on like a part of the defense. And defense is an important thing. If you don't have to maximize for a lot of different scenarios and a lot of different mechanics, like you need the defense, you need the offense, you need the mobility, and if you don't have all these different factors to min-max for, then all of a sudden it just becomes about one thing, and that just makes the game boring. So I think it's good. I think it's very good that we have these very high hits.
Well, I definitely can't see that changing anytime soon anyway.
No,
They
no, 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 no,
seem
no.
to have
It's
balanced the game around that. The next
yes.
question is from Tigrisk, and it's Noogie. What is the best hipster build that you ever played?
Best hipster build I've ever played. Ooh. That's a really tough one because it's like, what's your favorite food? Like it's all it's all like in the moment, you know? Sometimes you crave one thing and sometimes you crave something else, and it's always changing. So it's I really don't know. I'm like trying to think about all the builds I've done, and I just I don't know. I liked both I like the insane mitigation I had and the insane defense I had on my very first block incinerator I did when nobody thought it was any good. Like I remember talking to Crip about tanking back then. GMP Piety in Temple,
Yeah,
which was insane.
yeah, for sure.
But I was talking about how good block actually was, and there was no consensus about block back then. Like block was not really that it wasn't considered good. But when you just look like now, everyone understands that block is like super duper OP because of like how it layers the defense. Basically, you quadruple when you have 75% block, assuming that you take hits over time. You quadruple your life pool, which is just insane. So that was very, very, very good back then. Or I really enjoyed how I figured that out, or because it took me like a month or something to like do all the theory crafting and all the research and all that into it.
And did Piety still shotgun back then?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
was triple shock stack and shotgun.
See. The next question is by Sash B. What was the very first class you chose when picking up the game?
Say that again.
Like when you first started the game, first installed it,
Yes.
first time, what was the first
Ranger.
class? Okay.
Yes, I've always been a bow guy.
Always been a bow guy.
Yes, I just love them.
Is this in every game or just Path of Exile?
Every game. I have a ranger type character in every single game I play. Every MMO, every RPG, I have some sort of bow character because I just enjoy that playstyle. It's just yeah.
Next question again is again from Dota Man, and it's what is your favorite divination card that's been added to the game?
The one that gives you 10 chaos for one card.
Oh, right.
Like there are some super random ones out there that you can only get from like getting divination
That's
card.
from Poor
like
Joyce, I think.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah,
maybe
that's
that,
why
yeah.
you mostly only get it from Gambler. Most people
Yeah,
don't bother.
exactly. So like those kind of things are really, it just feels so good. It's like, oh, 10 orbs. Wow. Because like they like done straight away and there's like no bullshit.
Yeah, I remember I saw your video on the community highlight video where suddenly you see you turning in 5 Emperors and you're going
Oh.
like 5 mirrors, 5 mirrors. You
Oh,
looked
no,
so disappointed. It was great.
No, those are fun as well. I think that is good game design as well. Like the cards that you can continue to like gather and just turn in for whatever. Like they can be good, they can be bad, but it's always a gamble, and it's just a little bit amount of time that you invest into them. I like those the best. The ones that the ones that have like 12 and they drop like once every fucking month are terrible. I do not like the design of those. Well, I think it's fine that they're there, but I don't find any enjoyment in them. Even like having to collect them and then turning it in, I don't think is that enjoyable. At least not for me.
So overall, are you happy or unhappy with the divination card system?
Kind of like, I don't know, in between. I don't really have an opinion on it in terms
Just
of
there.
like, it's just there. I think it's fine. If someone likes it, I think it's good. I do think there are things that are bad, and it's when they start interfering with like it's when they trivialize otherwise very like when they trivialize other pieces of gear, right? The 6-link astral plate is a huge mistake. It's a huge mistake because they go for like 3x total, right? And they completely like They just makes it so that you would never ever try and link any armor plate ever. There's simply no point, and I think that's kind of sad. Like, crafting in this game is so much fun when it's worth it, but it's just not worth it.
Yeah. What about stuff like the slightly unobtainable gear? Like, there's one that gives a Headhunter, Corrupted Headhunters, Bull's Devotion, Azir's Favor. What do you think about the Divination Curse for the more unobtainable stuff?
I like the ones for the corrupted versions because it gives you a way of just getting all these cool corrupted or all these cool corrupted versions of these things out there. And I think that's good. I think it's good for the game because there's always like, you're always like searching. It's good for build diversity because there might be some guy searching for like a specific corruption, but you know it's never going to happen, and that's kind of boring.
Yeah.
I really like Volops. I think Volops is one of the best additions in the entire game. I think actually for the whole, like, if there is like one specific, I think Volops is one of my favorite things that they ever added to the game. So having more of that stuff out there, I think is super cool. Like, I don't mind all these cards that people can otherwise go like for the uniques. I think that's fine. I think that's perfectly fine.
I'm gonna guess that you don't like Eternal Orbs then, and you're happy they were removed.
Yeah.
Yeah, thought that.
But I would like Exalted Orbs to go up higher. I like gambling. I like just throwing stuff, and it can go horribly. Like, it can go super good or super wrong.
Yeah.
But there's no takebacks. There's no takesy backsies, right? I hate the fact that you can like take back all these things with like, okay, you go with the like Eternal Orbs, you could take back all the time. It's like, oh, it didn't stick. Oh, you're gonna try again. No, I hate it. The same thing with the master crafting right now with the remove suffixes and keep keep the prefixes or whatever. I think that's I don't like it either.
Yeah, I guess it is sort of an Eternal Orb.
Yeah, it is in its own sense, but I don't know. I like it when people just more or less gamble and there's an actual risk in what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. The next question is a map-related question, and it's about your Havoc death. Benda's asking, will you ever map with Havoc again? How do you feel about that rip? That's good.
Oh, I met with him like plenty of times after that as well, and I even like farmed plenty of maps for him and like helped him out with that. So for sure I'll map with him again. I think it's very, very rare that what do you call it? Like, I know the Danish word for this.
Decade?
No. A Béarnais. What's the name?
Hold a Grudge?
Yeah, Hold a Grudge.
All
yes. Right. I very rarely hold a grudge. And if I do, I usually seek out the person that I'm holding a grudge to like confront them and to figure out what's to actually settle it. So I can like get past it.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question is by Takeda. What would you say is the best build to start out a league with? Like, for example, for a new player.
The best build? That's such a difficult question. Because it's like some of the builds that you would consider the best builds to start because they're easy in the beginning will then just like they won't teach you too much about. Well, they will teach you a decent amount about the game, but at the same time they're gonna like what's the name? They always end up kind of like hitting a plateau where the power level just doesn't go high enough, and you get frustrated that you can't really go higher. And you're just so safe through the entire experience, so you never really understand why the game is dangerous or what you have to change. It's hard to really go anywhere from there, I feel. I like Bladefall. It's a bit dangerous with Reflect, but if you figure out how Reflect is early on, that's great. But Bladefall is definitely a very strong skill. But I think it's a good idea to pick something strong in the beginning. Yeah. Something that doesn't have too many mechanics to it. Arc was buff, so Arc is definitely something I would recommend. Bladefall and Cyclone, because they're good skills. They do require some gameplay, like good gameplay. So I would probably recommend those to a starting character.
While we're on the subject of Bladefall, how do you feel about like the scaling? Like for example, obviously you can progress quite easily up to at least like tier 6 maps without taking a single point in damage and wearing like, let's say I did it with level 20 gear. It was
It
clearing.
scales too quickly.
Yeah.
Like it has the damage progression should be a little steeper is the word I'm looking for. It
Yeah.
should be steeper. Yeah.
So do you feel like this is a bit like the new Incinerate, where you don't really have to invest anything in gear and it can go kick ass?
I don't know. I even that with Incinerate, I don't agree with. Like the whole, you don't have to invest anything and you just kick ass. No, you don't. You kind of suck if you don't invest anything into it. If you don't go any damage nodes.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's going to take you a little bit further, but any skill that has more damage than other skills will always do that. It's all about finding, right? It's all about finding the skill that will scale or that has higher base damage, right? But you always want to scale your skill correctly. It's not like there hasn't. I can't remember a single skill where you can just go in and never pick damage and it was good. Like you still had to scale Incinerate, or it was super slow and terrible.
The next question is about, obviously there's been several new gems added to the game. And it's by I'm Not King. If you only got one support gem for your Chaos build, would you pick up Poison or Word Manipulation?
Oh, if I only got one.
Yeah, you're not allowed both. What one would you pick up?
Well, that entirely depends on what else I have. Like the question is kind of it's kind of unfair because I don't know how much base damage I have. I don't know if I have any like poison scaling already, or if I have duration or anything else.
Just as an example, say you're on a Chaos Stormer, which you already have a Consuming Dark, so you do Poison. Would you pick up Word Manipulation? And here you don't actually use Poison Node for that.
No, then you'd
Terrible
never use
example.
poison.
Terrible example. Right, we'll move on. It's a little too unspecific.
Yeah, like it really goes like you always want to have both, because like poison is probably the more important one to have. It's the one that's gonna add you the like more damage. Like the mechanic of poison is stronger than just a more multiplier, as with the case of Spell Echo versus poison. But it really depends, because poison is one. It's really is a difficult mechanic to really quantify, because it doesn't have the initial hit, but it's the longer the duration of the fight, the better poison becomes. And say you're doing like if you're like not one-shotting and you're going somewhat slowly, I think poison is better. But if you're almost one-shotting and you can push it to the point where you one-shot, then Void Manipulation is always better. Like when you push it to over the edge, where you either have to only cast one time instead of two, or where the synergy is just there. It really depends, right?
Good answer. So obviously there's been some trade updates posted. How do you feel about them, and what are you hoping for? Obviously they haven't been completely specific with what's happening. What are you hoping for in the trade updates?
The trade updates, like what am I hoping for? I really don't. I hope that they are going to combat the huge amount of players being unavailable for trading. I think that is the main gripe I have, is that people can have. I do like I can work with like a PoE trade and all that. And I understand the point of view that they don't want to have instantaneous offline trading where you can just put stuff up, because it makes it too easy to get gear, right? When you trivialize getting gear, then you take a big part of the game away, and you make the progression of going through the motions in the game too fast, and you kind of like cap out on everything quicker, and you get like if anyone has played Diablo 3, you will know that whenever you get like right now they give you a set of gear, right? I think I'm not the only one who's played Diablo 3 and have really have gone to the point where you're kind of done with your character in a quicker and quicker fashion, right? Like right now, you're pretty much done within a few days. Season before, it was like a week. The season prior to that, it was maybe like 10 days. Back in the release, it was like a month or two, right? And it really, like, if you don't have anything to work towards, then ARPGs become very stale, right? That you always have to have something you're working towards. So I think it's okay that they're not introducing a quote-unquote auction house. But I think what am I expecting, hoping for? Just a lot of improvements in how you communicate with other players. I think it's how you communicate with other players that's the most important thing for me. That you can get in contact with them, and whenever they appears online, they are online. Yeah, and easier ways of like maintaining a shop of some sort. So like an easier way to maintain your forum post, your shop, all that. But that, I think that is with the API improvements that should make that better. So some of the things they're alluding to are definitely good.
You're pretty happy with the current system and just need some tweaks.
No,
Oh.
because I'm looking for something completely different, right? I've been talking, because basically this stemmed from the whole. Okay, so first of all, I had a big discussion about racing, but I'm not going to get into that here. And then it devolved into like talking about PvP and why PvP kind of failed, because we weren't building a community. We weren't building around creating good space for a PvP community. If you don't have a space for a PvP community, and if you don't have like people kind of like just doing PvP on their own without being forced into it, then you will never see it. And then it was like, then the whole talk actually ended up with having with how Act 1 in Diablo 2 worked, right? So Act 1 in Diablo 2 and the whole create join system of Diablo 2 was basically why that was such a big success. You would have people trading in Act 1. You would have 8 people coming into the same game. You would always have people flooding into the game, like coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out, trying to get some trades, seeing, okay, is there anyone who has something here, right? Kind of like a bazaar. But at the same time, you had this space where people were gathered. And it's what I really want is I want to gather people in a spot. Because this could be used for quick trades. Maybe you could even have some sort of buyouts if you were there with your character, right? In a bazaar or a marketplace style place where you had like 50 to 100 people in an instant. They've instanced everything anyways. So why don't we have like big instances as well to where people can go and talk?
Do you want to move away from something like PoE trade and move more into like a barter and look system for what you want?
Yeah. I think that could be really cool. Yeah. I would like stuff to be done in game. I hate having to go out to a third party site, but I love interacting with people within the game. Right? And the same thing with I think actually just if I would like then expand on this is, however good people think that the hideout system is, I think at the same time it was actually a big blunder on their side, because what happened, and even at for like them making revenue, I think it actually also took away from them, because before you had people standing in Act 3, right? Act 2 and then Act 3, and they would show off. You would have instances with 50 people and they would show off their gear. They would stand there in their MTX and everything. Now you have everyone like spread. You pretty much just took that and you just took it apart, and you made everyone go to their own private hideout where they're just all standing alone. It's it's turning into a more and more antisocial game, where it's like you have automated third-party programs searching for gear all the time, right? Never online. They're just searching, indexing, and they come in when they see something indexed or something like gives them a ding. Okay, someone put up something that can snipe now. That's bad. They put in the hideouts, so now we're like in our own separate zones, so we're not together anymore. That's bad. Like it's getting like we're kind of like taking the whole community apart, and we're not getting guild upgrades.
Improvements,
I can just keep going on this.
Next question is to both of us. It's not something I've really heard of before, so I'll bring it up and see if it's something you've heard of. What is your take on the fact that some of the big league streamers refuse to stream PoE due to them thinking the community is toxic and childish? That's not something I've heard about, so.
Oh, it's just I don't know. That sounds like a bait.
Yeah,
Sounds like a.
probably.
I've never heard of
Because
that.
I think it's a great community.
And I literally couldn't care less, cause like, I don't know. That's just no. I do think that our. I don't know. I do think there's been a lot of instances of toxic behavior on Reddit. I think there's been too many witch hunts, too many people trying to police everyone, and too many people just trying to find a scapegoat. I don't like that.
Okay. See, I'm just looking down for some more questions. Right, the next is by Flame Resistant. How do you think the Ascendancy classes will affect long races? Where you
Ascendancy
actually get
classes?
the Ascendancy points.
Oh,
So like 2-3 hour races, stuff like that.
Well, they're affected. Sure, we're just gonna just look at Ascendancy as another, like, they're just good nodes you can get that will give you something good, right? It's sure, like, it's kind of it's not really gonna affect it. Like, people are just it's just like oh, you have these. Okay, let's assume they added 8 different clusters on the skill tree next to where the starting locations were, right? What would that do? Well, people would just pick up whatever was best every single time.
Yeah.
Like, people use Fire Trap people use Fire Trap over Lightning Trap because it was always better in the beginning. Now people are using Lightning Trap because that's better, and it's like people just aspire to the best all the time. So that's all.
I'm just looking at some more questions. Here's a good one. Have you seen the new Uniques previewed yet?
Previewed, or the one that they posted on?
Yeah, the ones that are posted with like
so
the
shield,
ring.
like the shield that's, or the one hander that's like a second shield kind of thing, and the gloves kind of thing and all that.
Yeah. How do you feel about all the new Uniques? Like, particularly the ring has been very controversial.
The ring, the onset ring.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing about uniques is what you have to take to mind is that is there good it's all about opportunity cost, right? Like, is the power too high for what it does? Like, are you giving up enough for its power? And I think you are.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have one aura in there, it's really good. If you then reserve any other auras, it's terrible, right?
Yeah, but like particularly for something like blood magic, using Player Mind, you get a huge
Basically,
boost.
it basically gives blood magic an aura. That's what it does, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Do you not think that's a little too powerful?
Do you think blood magic builds in general are too powerful? I don't know, man. It's like, look at it this way: you're giving up 100 life. Okay. Assume this. If you can get an aura that would give you, let's say you're like, I'm just gonna take my Voltaxic build, right? It's a caster with life and blood magic, right? So if I could get an aura, instead of having 100 life, 30 chaos res, 20% evasion, and 60 to all res, would I rather have an aura instead of that?
Yeah.
That's a really tough one, right?
No, fair enough.
So like they imagine like perfect fist damage and weapon elemental and all that. Like, maybe it's a little strong. I don't know. Maybe +2 is too much. I don't know. But a ring slot is a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely big improvement though. I think it's gonna, especially with Clear Mind, I think it'll open up a lot of new builds for
Yeah,
casters.
but yeah. But people are already running Clear Mind.
Exactly.
With blood magic. Like, that's what I'm doing on my Voltaxic. I'm just like it's a perfect example of where you could use it, because I could use Wrath, for instance, which would be a 20% multiplier. But do I even need it at that point? Like, is it strong enough to where I want to give up all the stats I have? Because that's a lot of stats. That's a lot of life I would give up. So I think for people who are just trying to min max damage in a build like that, it would be pretty crazy. I think for standard, it might be just a best in slots. So we'll see. I think the opportunity cost is high enough, at least, to where it's not too crazy.
Let's see. What about the rest of the uniques? Like anything they like care about, or were they just a bit whatever new uniques
Rexless
added?
Defense seems pretty damn cool.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's the one where you get crit more, right?
It gives you 2 block, and normally you can only get 1 block. And it gives you 20% chance to block spells. So if you just have a high enough life pool, then this might be strong enough. So yeah, I think that's a pretty cool one. Also, it really depends on how much do we actually get crit, and let's assume you get some of the items that makes it so that whenever you take a critical damage or take a critical hit, you just you reduce their multiplier. There's some notes on the tree if you're already getting those, and then you get this jewel as well in conjunction, because this might actually, like, this is stronger. The jewel itself is stronger than a normal jewel for a block build,
Yeah.
right? So it might trigger to where you don't need an extra jewel slot, so you can go for some of the crit reduction. So I think that's pretty cool. I think the one where you lose on endurance charges, where you get rampage, right? Seems kind of seems bad.
Yeah.
Because it's like we don't have good endurance charge generations methods outside of, well, we do.
I guess that kind of depends if Talisman stays.
Yeah, but also it could be used, I guess. I don't know how often you max out on the Mjolnir kind of, or the where you just keep cycling.
Yeah.
And so then it doesn't even matter that you lose all of them, because you just generate them again instantly. And then you have them for a long duration, so you might only miss out on 5% of your endurance charges anyways. And so it might actually be good for a build like that. So we'll see. There is some potential there.
Next up is, do you have any ideas for if you could design a race? Is there anything you feel like are missing from the current pool of races? You design a special race.
Let me see. Designing a race. It's really tough, because designing a new good race is that's not like they're doing many good things already. Like the Descent is like designing a new area with all sorts of currency. That's already nice. The Headhunter is nice. I don't know. Maybe. I thought about one thing, just with the whole, the Headhunter inspired me to think about, what about low life? A low life race where whenever you were on low life, you got a buff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be pretty cool.
All right.
Because then energy shield would really be something strong. Like it could be something absurd, like 100% extra damage, just 100% more damage. There you
Any
go.
damage.
Any damage, spell damage, attack damage, any damage, just damage. Like the thing about races is that they don't have to be balanced.
Yeah, that's true. Especially with Void League.
They just have to be interesting, and they have to encourage new styles of play, like new ways of playing the game in an interesting fashion, where we have fun.
No, fair enough.
So something like that could be fun. I don't know. It would take me a long time to really be creative.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's cool. I like the low life idea. So the next question is by Monrivo. How do you feel about 6 thinking items and that is complete RNG? I mean, obviously you can get a 6 thing in 1 fusing, or you can sit there and throw 3,000 into it.
Okay, so the whole thing about it's complete RNG. All I have to say is this is an ARPG where stuff is random. Just deal with it, because it just has to be like that. Whenever you make everything like the same style of grind every single time, and you can never get lucky. Like,
Yeah.
Imagine if we didn't have RNG in the game. where everything was predetermined, how would you
Recipe.
feel?
Yeah, for sure.
Like
Do you like
it
it?
wouldn't be very exciting. I think I didn't like it in the beginning. I didn't like it in open beta. Like when open beta and closed beta was there, it was way too difficult to link, and especially 5 link. I think making 5 links a lot more easy was very good because there's like there's a requirement of links for endgame, which is like you need your 5 link, right? It's kind of like the where you start. It's the base, and then you can really like you can push it for the 6 link, and then every once in a while you get really lucky. I think it's fine. The game is balanced around 5 links, and 6 links is just where you really
Fill
push
that
it.
out extra.
Yeah.
So obviously with the maze being added to the game, there's also going to be leaderboards for them. There's going to be daily leaderboards to see who completes it the fastest. How do you feel about that?
Good.
You're excited?
Yes. This is something they should have done a long time ago. And this is something they should have done about race. I don't understand why they haven't, because it's one of my pet peeves. Like, where they really like I think GDG has so many missed opportunities where small effort could really go such a long way in making people more excited, and where let's say that some of their announcements and how they like approach and how they like push their best players, right? They push their best players and their achievements towards the community. So you really like whenever someone gets 100, you make a big deal out of it. Whenever someone wins a race, you make a big deal of it. The best top 3 in every single season. I've never been one of them, but you make a big deal of those who are there, so that you make it so that everyone else aspires to be the same and wants to actually put in the effort of going that extra mile to also go there, because at the end of the day, why do we do this? Because of recognition. Everyone wants to be recognized, but if there's no recognition, like, why do we even bother? And so that's I hope that they do this, and I hope that they're looking into that they uncover ways of having like more updated leaderboards and stuff like that will then like transfer over to both PvP and races and all the game. Like, I hope that transfers over.
No, that's good. I definitely agree with that as well. And the next question is by Hivemind. Do you expect to be playing the game further in the future? Like, do you think PoE is something that's always going to have you come back for more, or do you think you're going to get burned out on it?
So far, they've every single time they've introduced an expansion, they've given me something new to play around with, and if they just keep doing that, then yeah, I think I'll keep coming back. I don't see myself not coming back for a long time.
Okay, no, that's good. Definitely a content creating game. Like every time we get new content, so the meta changes. A lot of good things like that. And on a similar note, from a Whistler89, what are the 3 best games you've played ever?
Ever?
Ever.
Ever. Okay. Command and Conquer, the very first game. Yeah, that was number 1, or one of them. Let's see. Oh, it's such a hard question. That definitely is up there. Let me see. Fallout 2. It's definitely up there. Half-Life.
1 or 2? Just 1?
1. And Diablo 1.
And while we're on the subject, is there any game you're particularly looking forward to?
No.
No? No games.
I'm looking forward to XCOM. Not in the sense that I'm expecting anything like at the level of the kind of like of the level of I don't know, like the of enjoyment or kind of like nostalgia and all that, like the feelings I had from all the other games like that I played in the past. I don't expect that from any game. Like that's something that just comes like out of nowhere. I think you can never expect that. It's just there all of a sudden.
No, definitely. I'm pretty excited about XCOM myself, actually.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very fun game. Like Half-Life 3, I would love that to come out, but like,
Half-Life
it's
3
like
confirmed.
I don't know, like, but
No, for sure. Next question is from Dwirbor. What type of orb would you like to see added to the game? You could customize an orb from scratch.
An orb from scratch. That's a really tough one. I really don't know.
No orb you would particularly like in the game. You said earlier you like gambling. Is there any more like gambling orbs you would want in the game? I've
I
heard
don't know,
some
because-
discussion talking about a reverse exalted orb, like remove a rare.
Remove, yeah, but that I don't know. That just because then you can like go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and it just becomes the new way of. It's not a gamble anymore.
If it's
It's-
random though, say you have merciless and you remove that, you're gonna be raging.
Yeah, but it's just I don't know. I don't like that too much. I don't know. I don't see how that's gonna be that great.
There's no particular.
I guess you could have that. It could be pretty cool. I guess. Yeah. I just worry that it's gonna be the next tier of like crafting again, where people just
Yeah,
have to
the
like
Eternals.
amass all these, and like it just becomes another type of eternal orb.
I can see that. And the next question is also on the a similar subject of gambling, which you said you liked earlier, and chance, and it's by WSP Grants. Noogie, would you like to see more gambling items like the Ventor, where the item can be complete trash or
Yes.
completely godly?
I think having high range on the rolls is something that's very important in uniques, or at least to have a set of uniques that have that. I think that is great design where you divide them up and down, and because as long as it's especially in like I don't know, I'm not I just like the design in general, just because it like having that perfect item really pushes it so far.
Yeah. But do you feel that's too punishing for new players? Like, say someone is new to the game, they played for 3 months, they understand PoE trade, and say they search for a Ventress Gamble. They see a Ventress Gamble going for like 8 to 15 C, like a -10 quantity roll, so it's just looking to get rid of it. They have a 10% quantity roll, perfectly rolled.
They just need to be they need to make information more readily available, right? It's just too hard finding information, and they're making it they're intentionally making it super hard getting information. I don't think that's like just withholding information. I feel like it's a mistake, because that's a lazy way of designing a game. Okay, let's just withhold information as our way of making it so that we don't have people getting I don't know. Yeah. So as long as like people can get information easily, I think then those kind of items are perfect.
So for example, something like holding a key down to see the min roll and max roll would be a very good feature then.
Yeah. I want more of that stuff.
Yeah, sure. The next question is by Jolly Fox. Now, regardless of how good or the power level of a skill, you have a skill that you would like. What skill do you enjoy the most? Like, what would you like maybe wish was better? Is there any skill that you're like, I wish I could use this, but it's too bad? For example, Elemental Hit.
Okay, elemental hit is just not very fun to use. Like there's not a mechanic to it that makes it fun.
Yeah.
Okay, now I burn, now I shock, now I freeze. I just like Wild Strike. Wild Strike, yeah, I would like that to be better.
Yeah.
Because it's just a wonky thing, right? It does the arc, it's just the AoE, just like everything, just in a fucking wild mess.
Yeah.
So-
It's a fun skill.
Yeah.
More questions. What is your favorite Twitch emote?
Oh, it changes all the time.
That's it.
My favorite Tristimo? I think it's forehead.
Forehead, yeah, it's pretty good. Personally, I like Dance Game.
I think I'm a forehead guy.
You're a forehead guy. It's gonna be a meme for sure.
I also enjoy good Ming Lee.
Right, okay, so if you got a chance to create a weapon that was gonna be implemented, what kind of weapon would it be? What would you like? What type of weapon would I think I already know the answer.
I would implement Something that would mimic a ball and chain.
Right. Really? I was expecting bow, but that's just a new bow.
No, I would implement like some like that would like reduce your move. Like you could not never go above like 0 movement speed, but you would then have the effect of like, but you could like throw it around. Like look at it as like a ball and chain, like at your ankle, but then you could like swing it around and it would like pull everything in, but you would move so slow.
Kind of cool.
And you could like leap with it and the ball would like fly over and I don't know, something like that. I've always liked that idea.
The next question is by Fred PoE. What microphone are you using? Apparently your voice has been super smooth since you came back. Do you have a new microphone?
Yes, I have a Røde broadcaster.
What did you call it?
A Røde broadcaster.
Oh, right. That's a Danish thing, apparently.
Yeah, it's a Danish brand. I think it's a Danish brand at least.
Okay, cool. Scrolling through looking for more questions. Apparently there's been 2 ascendancy classes. I wish we could somehow... have you had a chance to look at them yet? Obviously, I can't really open them now, but there is apparently 2 new ascendancy classes.
Oh, that just was released?
Yeah, IGN reveals one of the new... It's called the Elementalist.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
actually, I did find a good question, but if you can try to find that, talk a little bit about that if you want to have a quick look over it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to bring it up on stream as well eventually. Next question is by Dwerbor. You've always advertised potions as the most OP thing. What are your opinions about the flask changes?
I think they're good. I think they're addressing flasks the right way. They're introducing a lot. They're introducing things to like close the gap between Taste of Hate, for instance. They're introducing new cool mechanics in flasks that can be. I like the Onslaught one that has effects that you can use. I didn't like the fact that they're buffing a lot of the other, like there's not been a lot of diversity on flasks. Basically you were forced into like the triple resist flasks, and then the movement speed flask, and then whatever you needed for like either armor if you're ES based, or health if you're life based, right? That's been like the go-to thing, and you were always locked in place that you needed the immunity for curses, shock, freeze, and bleed, right? So you're locked into those as well. And then there was a very, very little leeway in terms of what kind of potions you could actually use to where you didn't gimp your character. So I think if you're not considering the ranger class, the pathfinder, then I think they're doing great strides in terms of making flasks more interesting and more better, have a better balance. I think the minus or the max resist going down is a good thing, because how easy it was to get 13 all res, it was way too easy getting that amount for next to nothing, like that amount of resist, because getting max resist is really hard when you don't get them on flasks. So I think they had too high of an impact there. So I think that's good. Other than that, we'll see how they rebalance the flasks. But I think on the resist, I think it's really good, and what they're now what they're hinting at right now, it seems pretty good what they're doing.
What about things like, do you think Taste of Hate or Vinktars is going to get nerfed? Like, not so much the resist part, but like their abilities. Like Taste of Hate is basically a lightning cold and a potion.
I don't know. I don't know if they want to do that, or if they're gonna. I don't know. Should they? It's good to have items to aspire to.
So you think Taste of Hate is fine currently?
Yeah, the problem is, the thing is, and what people don't realize is that physical damage is kind of crazy good right now. Like elemental damage is not something we feel. It's just how the game has grown, right? Yeah. But if the game all of a sudden goes in a different direction in terms of what's going to be dangerous and what do we want to mitigate, then immediately the strength of that item will go down. So it's a very hard question to answer prior to knowing the next league, whether or not they even need to.
Mm-hmm. So
right now it is really strong, for sure. Like you could probably lower both the damage gain and the conversion to like 20%, and people would still use it.
Yeah, I think it's a little too mandatory. Like, there's no reason not to wear one right
Yeah,
now.
but that's why we have to really like see what kind of new introductions into flasks like what are they introducing in flasks. How good is the new like how good in comparison is the new there is the flask that's like kind of a taste of hate in terms of like physical mitigation, the physical mitigation
Oh
potion, the
yeah,
percent one, yeah, that they're introducing. We have to see the numbers before we can really say anything, because they're also like balancing the game around.
new things and future things.
Yeah. Like assume that's like 20% or something.
Yeah,
Maybe it's even 30%. Who knows?
30% from coil, 30% from new potion, 30% from taste of hate.
I know it's probably okay. So I had an idea. Okay, I want to use flasks. I took all the flask notes, and I saw, okay, where is that? Where does that leave me? Okay, it leaves me good with Ranger or Scion. Okay, if I go Scion, I go through the life wheel and up. I get MOM. This is pretty good pathing. Then I can branch out to two sides. Oh, that gives me AOE and AOE, like very good pathing. And then I all of a sudden I had my Blade Vortex, and basically the Blade Vortex guy started as like Scion, and then it was like something else, and I tried going so many different ways. It can either be I pick a skill, I want to make that good, or it can be the other way around. I have a skill tree that looks really cool. Like I wanted to make an MOM character at some point, right? So because I wanted to make an MOM character, I picked the MOM. I picked good nodes that had double use, right? You want to have both mana and life. So I made a good skill tree that had really good mana and life. And basically what it told me is that, okay, the skill tree works really good with projectile damage because I path right through projectile damage. So I made like an Arctic Breath Pledge of Hands build because of that. It's just like you just start combining things. The most important thing is just like you need to understand how things scale between each other, both defensively and offensively. And when you know that, then you see it all of a sudden, just what a good skill tree is and how much like base damage you need in terms of what kind of weapon you're gonna use. Like it all depends. Like let's say you're using like a weapon that has no damage on it. Like let's say you're using a spell, but you're using a weapon and a shield that has no damage. Okay, now you need to have additional multipliers somewhere else, right? So you use Rise of the Phoenix, but that unlocks the possibility of using Rise's Fire as a multiplier, because you give up this huge damage slot, but you gain another layer of damage by getting Righteous Fire. And also then you give up some damage on the tree, but then you gain survivability through regen, and then the multiplier on Righteous Fire is so high that you can actually give up both and still retain the same amount of damage as if you just invested everything. So whenever you get something up, you have to find some way of getting it back. Because if you give up too many things, then you end up with a build that does no damage.
Oh, for sure. Next question is by Greedy Till. How do you feel about Flicker Strike? What are the pros and cons?
Flicker Strike?
Flicker Strike.
Flicker Strike is one of the fastest clearing builds that you could ever get in the game, just because it's like anything else that seeks out a target on its own. Whenever you have that, you get something that's really crazy, or something that can cover areas really, like large areas, or auto aim. That's why like chain on builds is really strong in terms of like clear speed. But it's really strong. The problem is that after they introduced the Nemesis mod, Nullifier, it's really, really, really dangerous to run, because if you get stunned or stuck once and it hits you and you lose everything, you will be stuck there and you cannot move and you will die.
Yeah.
So it's very dangerous, but it's.
Do you like the risk versus reward?
Yeah, I do. It's a good style of build to have there, to where you can have such absurd, like the upside is so absurd when it works, to where the downside is it's quite even there. It's good having these like very volatile builds in there that is not considered good for like the normal style of play, but they're really fun when you play them and you know the risks. And I think that's good game design, that you have these very volatile builds that will, yeah, that you can make work, but are not necessarily the strongest ones.
For sure, for sure. And we're still on skills and builds here, and this is a question about the meta from Morty666. Nugi, did you enjoy PoE more in the open beta with your Lion's Eye LA build meta, or do you enjoy the meta now more? If and why?
Oh, it's such a difficult question. Because the game has been like, the game has evolved. The game is so much better now, right? The game is just in a lot better state now than it ever has been before. The one thing I liked was that the game was a lot slower back then.
Oh.
The game was a lot slower. People would be like grouping as 6. The lag was kind of bad, but it's still as bad, if not even worse now in 6-man parties in some cases. Like my computer has been upgraded quite a bit, and I still lag exactly as much or more than I did back then in some instances. So I don't know. I think the game has gotten a little bit too fast to where we miss out on seeing what's actually going on. We're not like we're like I kind of take the I use Dominus, or not Dominus, Malachi as an example.
Yeah.
It's a very, very nicely designed fight. Good, just plenty of good things to what do you call it? Like the voiceover and everything, very cool. I love doing the fight every single time. The same thing with Dominus. I love doing these fights, but you don't do them anymore because the game is about speed and getting XP and moving fast. And one, it's too dangerous. Like for a lot of builds, it's too dangerous and not worth the risk. But at the same time, it's just not worth time-wise. And so people skip out on it, and that's just sad. I don't like that. I don't like that so many people like skip so much stuff now.
You mean also things like the side quests then, like Swig the Hope, stuff like that, or like
Just,
pretty much none of the side quests are done anymore?
Yeah, it's too bad. Like I love these, like the mini bosses and all that. We just skip them. We don't see them anymore. Like stuff just dies, blows up so quickly.
Yeah, I feel like even I'm telling like other new players coming into the game as well. They're like, oh, why aren't you like picking up the quest, and why aren't you doing this side quest, stuff like that? And you just tell them, no, like no one does that. Bit of a shame of content wasted.
Yeah.
So obviously there's a big 24-hour race tomorrow, which will be take quite a lot of time for most people. It's even gonna take probably I'm not sure how much would you say like the fastest people would complete the race in tomorrow? Maybe like 5 hours?
No, because the race is only, these races actually only to normal Malachi.
Oh, normal. Okay, I thought it was real. Okay, but how long do you think the race is going to take for like the top racers? Still Malachi.
For normal Malachi? I don't know. What does that take? I don't even know anymore. Like, how fast do we kill Dominus? 130, 140? 140 maybe?
Depends on your class, but like 1 hour 40 to 2 hours.
2 hours seem really slow. I think because like you enter at 40 to 45.
Yeah.
If you have a really good run, it's like sub 40. And then it probably doesn't take more, like 130 for that.
So probably somewhere like 3 hours to 4 hours for the top racers.
Probably like 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, Shane the Irish Potato is asking, do you have any tips for the up and coming 24-hour race for players that might not be familiar with racing?
Don't stress yourself in the beginning. Make sure you make a really like it's really important upgrading your gear all the time. The thing about races, and people tend to forget that the earlier you get like a spike in damage or in speed, the longer you'll have it. So by ignoring good drops and ignoring all this ignoring all the opportunities of good gear and IDing good gear and Like the more you ignore that, the slower you just end up going in the end. So I think it's important just keeping in mind that you want to upgrade your gear quickly. You want to have a good game plan. You want to have like a projected. You want to know what kind of links you want to get. You want to know what gear you need. You want to know what resistance you want to max, and then you want to like just go. But like upgrading gear is important, and I see a lot of people like not upgrading their gear enough. I think
And just pushing ahead too far. And
yeah,
just pushing
yeah,
ahead too far, yeah.
yeah, just running too much.
There's a question about like from Monrivo. Can you ask him what he thinks about the Sarn encampment and how you have to round and around, or you have to like run around a lot in the start?
Oh, say that again.
Like the Sarn encampment, Act 3, it's very long in the start, like running down. How do you feel about the layout? Do you think it should be more similar to Act 1, 2, 4, where it's like shorter, or do
Why?
you just to like optimize it, or do you think it's fine the way it is?
But why? Why does it need to be optimized?
Not my question. I don't know. Fair enough.
But no, the thing is like, if you just optimize everything to where you run in a straight line, where do you min max?
Yeah.
Right? Like if you don't know when to like because when you don't know like because what you do when you enter, then you go straight to the other area, right? The Sarn whatever, like you go from the entrance and you go to the Sarn whatever, like the first area after Sarn, and then you can TP in. You just use the TP out the door and you're in the middle. If you really want to go to town, you just walk out, TP, and you use the TP back out. Like, there's plenty of things you can do there.
Sure. Next question is by DGen1. Are there any uniques that you would like to change that are currently in the game that are either too overpowered or too bad? Obviously, we have a lot of uniques that a lot of people, especially streamers, get asked a lot. Why aren't you picking that up? And we just go, it's trash.
So say that again.
Are there any uniques in the game that you would like to change that are either too overpowered or too bad?
Oh, I would just like to bring the bad uniques up a little bit. I
So that
feel
they have
like
a place.
I feel like it's bad that you have uniques that are just so terrible that nobody would ever use them ever. I don't like that. So yeah, I would like to upgrade some of the worst uniques.
Any example?
I don't know, but then again, like if like as long as there's a purpose to a trash unique all the time, like maybe we could maybe some of the bad ones could sell for more, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can do a lot of things to make them more, like to make them cooler, or where you could I don't know, like get a complete set of uniques and you could sell them for like X amount of currency, right? If you got one pair of gloves and every single piece of unique would then make something else, right? As long as it has a purpose other than just being something we ignore, then I'm fine with it.
So I'm going to continue going for at least another like 6 minutes. So if you have any more questions, make sure you tag me in them now. We're push through on like some good questions and we'll try and find some. Next question is by Talisman. Would you guys like to see another out of normal gameplay boss like Aziri in the game? Like obviously a lot of people thought Rigworld was going to be something like this. Was a bit too easy for most people. Who would ever die to Rigworld? That face.
Oh, was that? Oh, did I want? Do I want to see more of those?
Yeah, more
those
like
kind of
Aziri
content?
bosses.
Yes. More. Aziri is really good for the game.
Were you a little disappointed in the Rigworld fight?
I never even did it. I haven't done it yet. I'll do it in the end, but I haven't done it yet. It doesn't seem that interesting.
Yeah. Do you want more stuff like Aziri, where like there's a thing you have to collect, you open up a new area? How do you feel about the bosses before Aziri? They're all good, or would you like a boss that you go straight to the boss, or do you like that there are other things there as well?
I like the design of the Aziri fight.
Yeah.
That you have all these steps in between. I think that's good. I would like that you could use the current map system as another step as well, right? Where let's say you can like collect or you can like pieces from like tier 1 and 2 bosses, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
To unlock like a certain map. or a certain other thing, or a Uber version of the tier 1 maps, or whatever. Like I don't know how, like, but if you've ever played Meet and Excel, like they had so many different maps and Uber levels and Uber quests and all that kind of stuff, and it was really cool. You would design characters to do certain areas, and you just have certain characters for certain parts of the game, and I think that was really cool. So I really want to see more of like Atziri, and I want to see more Rigwald, and I want to see just more of all this. And I want it to be there has to be a reward in the end though. Atziri has good gear in the end, and it also unlocks Uber Atziri, which is something really people strive to, and there's really good gear in Uber Atziri, so people want to do that. In Media and Excel, like you would have trinkets out of every single like you could have every single character could carry one trinket from all, like from every, like you could get one like trinket from every single Uber quest and Uber level, I think. And they all had roles, so they had like a high variance of roles, right? So you could like keep farming them over and over again, and you could perfect your character by getting all these different trinkets with perfect roles, on top of having to create your perfect character with all the runes and items and everything. So I think that was really nice, because there was always a point to going. Like there were so many places you could go and so many things that you could optimize your character for, and it was really cool.
Okay, no, that's really good. There are a few more questions I want to ask as well. I saw one question by DJ Mon again. Would you like an alternate way of leveling? Like, obviously, the progression gets a little boring for some people, where you have to complete the same max normal, cruel, merciless, and then, you know, every time you die, same again. Do you feel like that should be changed at all, or are you happy with it as it is?
I don't think we need an internal any other way of leveling. No, I don't think so. I think that kind of like the train of thought comes from Diablo 3, and I don't think that's a good way. I don't think that really encapsulates anything. I don't think it does any good for the game that you can just do it arcade mode. So no, I haven't heard of any other good way that you would do it. I like having to kill bosses. I like going through the motions. I like going for the quest and having to kill Dominus and meeting Malachi and all that. I would like to get immersed a little bit more. I would like for them to, but this is just a question of money at GDG.
Yeah.
Like to add like cutscenes and stuff like that. And I enjoy stuff like that so much, killing bosses and being immersed in the game. So I think that's good for an ARPG to have it that way that you level. So I don't think that
You're happy with the current way.
Yeah, I think so.
I think there's a very, very mixed opinions on that. Let's see. The next question is by Ambu, and this is related to you being, especially racing as a ranger. What do you think about the new balance change for races, especially like as an example that the ranger's early game is actually good now? Obviously, before ranger for racing was pretty, yeah, not ideal.
Okay, so Ranger early game for a long time has actually been fine. Not too bad, because Fire Trap Ice Shot was really good. People don't really give Ice Shot too much credit, but Ice Shot was not that much worse than Shrapnel Shot. With the updates of the bows, though, their damage numbers and all that has definitely pushed it to where it's really. And the proj damage now, like we get a lot more proj damage earlier, quicker, so we have more. We can one shot easier,
Yeah.
right? So that's definitely a big plus. So that's nice. It's nice that they balanced that to, yeah, they're definitely a lot closer. I think the classes are a lot closer now, which is just good. Yeah, I think the all-star races have terrible balance. I don't know. I think they're like I don't know what Neil was thinking when he was doing that. I don't know. I would wish that prior to like leagues that they would actually get in touch with some actual racers, just because some of the things just make no sense. The caster ones seems to be okay, but all the ones that have some kind of attack seems just so silly.
Do you feel like they're too heavily penalized and casters are a bit easy?
It's because they scale differently.
Yeah.
But they get kind of the same thing. So yes.
Yeah. We're gonna pick one last question from the chat now, and then I was saying we could look at the new classes. I'll try to get them up as well. The last question is by Poimu. How do you feel the game treats the new players? I think it's a little too overwhelming from the start, and it really hurts the community because of the gap. How do you feel
Yes.
about that?
I agree. I think they could do a lot in terms of including newer players in what the game is about. I have had some of my friends play the game, and they have like no idea what's going on, and there's like they are not incentivizing people to go the extra mile, and I think that's an issue with how they're designing their early game, right? When you present some stuff like you want to make it so that you want the players to actually want to go out to find a piece of gear, some loot, to then and then craft, and then seeing the result. You can even have it so that you give players like non-tradable currency to craft some gear, right? And so that you will introduce them to the cool things, and you don't want to withhold crucial information either. Like you don't want to. I don't know. It's hard to. It's such a hard question, because how do you make it so that new players are engaged and not overwhelmed at the same time? I don't know. I think they could do a lot in terms of making quests better, really getting people more engaged in the game early on. So yeah, I think they should really look into that, like balancing quest gems. That doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, I kind of agree as well. It does need to close the gap a little bit and have some more in-game features that would help new players. And I think it's a little too harsh that there's like literally no tutorial. You're just thrown into the game, and you're like, enjoy the skill tree, buddy.
Like you don't have to handhold. You just wanna present things that have X or Y outcome, right? To where you make the player do it. You want to make the player engaged and actually do like the crafting and the different combinations, but you want to facilitate that in a better way than they're doing right now. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping they can like solve that issue.
Yeah. Okay, that was pretty much all the questions I wanted to ask from chat. Thank you all for asking the questions. Have you managed to get the Elementalist and Trickster up? And we can talk a little bit about that.
I got the Elementalist up.
Okay, one second.
Let's see if I can find the Trickster. Is it like reveal on their page as well? Yeah.
Okay, I can. Which one did you have? So I can link you the other one.
Oh no, it's just revealed on their page already, so we can just find it there, I think.
Okay, so let's look at the Trickster.
Or maybe not. It's not.
It's not. Here, hold on.
Do you have to look at the video?
No.
To look at the Trickster. Okay, I'll.
This doesn't.
Oh, okay, you got it there. Nice.
There. Okay, so let's look at the Trickster first.
Yes.
I'm gonna bring that up on stream. Bit of an impromptu release here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See if we can bring this a little larger for everyone else. We're gonna cover. Our faces are currently covered, but you can now see the Trickster.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the Walk to the Ether, which is movement skills cost no mana. Increased attack speed if you use a movement skill.
Is that the top one?
Yeah, that's the top left one.
No, the top middle one. What's the top middle one then?
Oh yeah, it's a little.
It must, because it doesn't seem very good for like a 4.1.
Yeah.
So that can be.
Must be the one with the blue hand, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
And then we have Shade Form, 500 evasion rating, 50 max energy shield, which is quite a big chunk. 20% increased attack speed if energy shield recharge is started in the past 4 seconds. 20% more chance to evade attacks while not on full energy shield.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
So if you've taken damage, you have a higher evade.
Yeah.
Thing.
Oh shit. My screen just cut out. Give me a sec.
No problem. Next up is Weave the Arcane. 25% max mana, 5% chance to dodge spell damage, 10% increased movement speed while on full energy shield. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty good as well. Yeah. But it's also kind of weird. It's kind of like whenever you have builds that do energy shield and dodge at the same time, it's
Yeah.
kind of counterproductive because you limit it. But
Yeah, and you can't really do acrobatics with energy shield.
yeah,
I suppose if you have like a small buffer, like if you're sort of hybrid, so that could sort of work out. Then you can still take acrobatics, get super high dodge, and you could be on full energy. Like a low buffer hybrid. Maybe. Next up is the Patient Reaper. 30% increased damage over time. 60% increased life, energy, and mana recovery if you've killed an enemy affected by your damage over time in the past 4 seconds. That's crazy.
Mana recovery. What does that even What does that even mean?
I guess you just get like 60% more regen.
Yeah, but 60% more of your regen, the regen you have.
It also
so it's
affects
just-
potions though. Like if you kill
Yeah.
something, then your potion's 60% more. That's pretty hardcore.
I don't know. I guess okay. Swift
And then
Killer.
Swift Killer, 10% chance to gain a frenzy charge on kill and +1 max frenzy charges.
Seems pretty good for like a Flicker Striker, but I don't know. Like on kill effects, I'm not a big fan of. Like, they've introduced so many on kill effects, and I don't know. They promote a game style where you want to go really fast and you want to kill all the time.
Yeah.
The moment you slow down, everything like just falls apart, and the moment you group, everything falls apart.
Yeah.
So I really dislike on kill effects
It's
and
more of a
how hard
solo.
they've been pushing them so hard lately. It seems. I don't like them.
What's your first impression of the Trickster here then?
Seems pretty shit.
Seems pretty shit. Fair enough.
The only mechanic I think that seems pretty cool is the 5% chance to recover 10% max life when you use a skill. Because if you have enough cast speed or attack speed, that seems pretty crazy.
Yeah, you're basically always full mana.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's really cool.
Do you think that works on cast on crit?
But the rest seems.
So,
Also, this assuming you just have a high mana pool, right? You have a high mana pool and you just have a high cast speed. You could maybe make it so that you could just have the Weave the Arcane actually be your sustain. And sustaining, like anything that sustains, like anything that gives you enough resources on its own, i.e. Blood Magic, EB back then, and Mana Leech and all that.
Yeah.
Every time you have something that just solves that issue and you don't have to think about it, that's very powerful. So, but there's not something that stands out to be like overpowered or anything here, but some of these mechanics could be very strong with the mana and the evade on, like more chance to evade on full energy shield.
cool. So if you had to score the Trickster, seem to change your mind a little bit there at the end, what would you give it?
I like a lot of the ideas. So if I score it from like how I like it or how powerful I think it is,
From how much you like it?
I'll say like 7.
Out of 7. Okay.
Yeah, solid 7.
That's pretty high. I thought you were gonna give it like a 3.
No. Like I don't think it's bad design. Like I think they do a good job in general, like designing these skill trees. I haven't seen one I would rate below 5 at all.
Okay. That's really good then. Now, do you have the Elementalist open?
No.
Okay, it should be the second link I sent.
Like if I rate it in terms of strength, it's probably like a 5 or a 6 or something.
Yeah.
Right, but in terms of how I like it, when I see some of the ideas they have, like I like what they're going with this. So, okay, let's see here. Elementalist. Did you post it?
Yes,
Yeah, you did.
second link.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, so here's the Elementalist. Do you want to walk us through this?
Sure. Leash of the Primordial. 10% chance to summon a lesser elemental golem when you kill an enemy using elemental damage. Then Beacon of the Ruin. Oh, and the first one is a 2-pointer.
Yeah, this is a little more clear which one's which is good.
Yeah. Okay, so the second one is the first part of a 4-pointer, Shape of the Desolation. 20% chance to gain Arcane Conflux for 4 seconds when you kill an enemy. That then goes further into Beacon of the Ruin, elemental stat effects caused by your skill spread to other nearby enemies. Oh, so that's just prolif?
Yeah.
Okay. Pendulum of the Destruction, another of a 2-pointer of a 4-pointer. Every 10 seconds gain 100% elemental damage for 4 seconds. Oh, that's taken from D3. Mastermind of Discord is the 4-pointer in that. Penetrates cold damage if you've used the fire skill. Oh, so like it cycles. If you've used the fire skill, it penetrates cold. If you used a cold, it penetrates
That's
lightning.
interesting.
And if you've done lightning, it penetrates fire for the fast break. If you've done any of them, it will penetrate the adjacent or the one if you've done any one of them in the past 4 seconds.
Wild Strike.
Yeah.
Wow. This wow, it looks kind of
Paragon of the
crazy.
Calamity. For each element you're hit by... for each element you've been hit by, damage of, in the past 4 seconds, 40% increase of that element. Wait, so if you take damage from a given element, you will then do increased damage of that element. Right?
Yeah. And you
each
take
element
less
you've
damage too.
For each element you've been hit by of the 4 past seconds, 8% reduced of that element. Okay.
If you take fire damage, you'll do more fire damage and take less
Yeah,
incoming
it's
fire
good for the
damage.
smaller hits, like it's good for like Megara and
Yeah.
Sparks and Ball Lightning and stuff like that. Okay.
Wow, this is kind of crazy.
Beacon of Ruin seems strong. I think Beacon of Ruin is the only, like, Arcane Conflux. Let's see, what's that? While you have Arcane Conflux, all damage from hits will cause Chill, Shock, and Ignite. Okay.
I think that's insane. I was looking at Shaper of Desolation, I was like, this is kind of broken.
Okay, so that is the only good thing in this entire tree. Or depending on how good the Lesser Golem is, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah. But Shaper of Desolation, insane. Chill,
Alright,
Shock,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Ignite.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think it seems like a pretty cool tree in general.
Yeah, there could be a lot of potential here. I like it.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most
I don't like
built
these on
creating
kill
ones.
effects again.
Yeah.
They
I
really,
actually like the kill effects.
really bug me.
I actually like them.
It just ruins group play and it ruins any kind of like slow play in the game.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's so limiting in terms of how you have to play.
What do you feel about Mastermind of Discord? That just screams Wild Strike to me.
Mastermind of Discord seems complete shit for the cost.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's like when you compare them to the Templar thing, that's like 100%. If you crit for everything, like, this just seems terrible.
I don't know, man.
It's
I
so
can see some
inconsistent
cool
as
Wild
well.
Strike
Like you have to do a fire to penetrate coal. Like what the? Come on. So it tells you want to do a conversion skill, right? So you want to do a coal to fire conversion or something, right? Okay.
Yeah, that would be it.
So you can have it up all the time. Pendulum of Destruction is like you just, I don't know, like you have to wait every time all the time.
So does that just proc on its own then, like every 10 seconds?
Yeah, it just rotates. Or no, it just every 10 seconds, it just goes for 4.
Interesting. That's okay. Well, I mean, it's up.
It's okay.
So that's up for like you don't have it for 6 seconds then.
Yeah. I can. It's a pretty cool mechanic. I like this more than on kill because you can play around this. You can always use. There's always a use for it. So that's nice. Let's say you're in a boss fight, then you go ham for 4 seconds. You kind of rotate out. You wait. And then you go again, and I think that's pretty cool. I like that.
Or if you're elemental damage trapper, you can use it to snapshot. So when you have it, you go in, throw your traps, and then you wait for it to come back.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a good idea. Mines as well, probably, and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Oh yeah, mines. Definitely. I'm a little
Totems.
sad about mines. I think they deserve a little love.
Oh yeah, but it's just, like, mechanically they work with it, so it's a cool mechanic. I like it.
So
Courage is
overall,
different playstyle.
overall on the Elementalist, how much do you like this one? 1 to 10.
Mm, another 7, I think.
Another 7. What about how strong you think this one is then?
Oh, that's hard to say because it's like I think the Beacon of Ruin and all that could be pretty crazy. I don't know. It's really hard to say because like Radius 9, how much is that compared to the Prolif right now?
Uh,
And can you have Prolif on Prolif?
and I'm not sure. Not in-game, that's
No,
one.
that wouldn't even make any sense, would it? 'Cause
Prolif,
it's like
Prolif. Maybe if it's bigger radius than Prolif. Yeah, I'm not
is it?
sure.
I don't know. I don't know if it is. I don't remember the current one right now.
Say radius?
I do think they like yeah.
Say here.
I don't know, I
Oh,
think I
Prolif
like this
range
a
is
little.
12, so this is 3 less than Prolif.
Okay. But still, it's like it basically you get it for quote unquote free, right? It you don't have to link anything for it, and it will spread every single thing you do, and also it's like in conjunction with the Shape of Desolation, giving you like it will chill shock and ignite, so you get like everything at the same time. Notice how they don't have freeze in here. It's very intentional. So you don't have these perma-freeze spells because
Yeah.
that's actually the main. I think that was the main reason why they've nerfed Prolif and stuff like that so much. Or it's been very hard for them, it seems, to design around like freeze prolifing, where you just stop the entire screen.
Well, that was, I want to kind of end about, how do you feel about Ascendancy classes in general? Or what I want to end with.
I like it. I like them in general. I think they're doing. They're trying a lot of cool mechanics. I don't agree with all this on-kill effect stuff, but the thing is, like, what do you do instead? And that's not something I have an answer for, because it is a mechanic that works with the game, because like you're killing all the time and it's nice and that kind of thing. But I like this rotating stuff. I like that more. I think no, I think they're doing a good job in general with the Ascendancy. I think they're giving us enough to play with. It's all about them giving us tools that we can have fun with, and I definitely think that they're doing that.
Okay. So, in general, you're happy with Ascendancy? And all this
Yes.
Ascendancy classes?
Yes.
Cool. That's good. I'd like to thank you so much for participating in the AMA. If you guys are new to Nugin, you can find him on twitch.tv/Nugin. It's under his name there. Definitely throw him a follow. Very cool streamer. Very cool guy. Thank you so much for participating.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much, dude. I'm going to be finishing the race that started before, so if you want to see that, stay tuned. So, yeah, thank you so much, Noogie. I'm going to be ending this Skype call now, and always welcome back, dude.